oh, which way is it supposed to be going? How does wearing this cost you more money than wearing these on your driving lessons? On this video, I'm going to show you 10 things that are making you take longer to learn how to drive and that are costing you money. Let's get into it. When it comes to mini roundabouts, lots of people take too long to learn them because they're focusing on the wrong thing. Most learners, when they begin, they're focusing on too much on what's going on, and it's really confusing. At first, just concentrate on the right. We're going to turn right here, and you're going to worry. I'm only going to worry about the cars coming from the right-hand side. There's lots going on the left as well, and this is where learners go wrong. They're concentrating too much. I'm just going to focus on this side. So there's a motorbike there. He's turning, that car's turning as well. So then I can start moving. Then these guys have to wait for me. But because there's a big lorry there and they're coming towards us, a lot of learners get too scared. Just focus on the right-hand side, and then once it's clear on the right, you start making your move. It's much easier that way. Then when you get more experienced, then you can start looking more to the left. But the first few times you do it, train yourself to concentrate on the right. And then once you understand what those guys are doing, then you can start looking more on the left and using those cars on the left as blockers. That's when you start getting really good at roundabouts. But in the first place, focus your attention on the right-hand side. Practice going into first as you approach stops and hazards. So there's something coming up here. I'm not gonna wait until the car stops before I go into first. So the car's rumbling now. I'm gonna go into first now, and then I'll creep forward slowly. If I was to wait until I stopped first, there's a strong chance I'm gonna forget to go back into first, then I'll try to move off in second. So not only does going into one before you stop minimize the risk of you forgetting to go into first, it also makes you quicker at junctions. So let me show you an example. If I'm going left here, I'm in second right now. I'm not gonna take this in second because I can't really see properly. So I'm gonna have to come to a stop and then go into one and then carry on. There's nothing really for me to stop for. It's nice and clear. But I could have done that quicker if I'd approached it in first. So let me show you. So this one, I'm gonna go into first as I approach it, check, 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 and then I can keep moving. Yeah, there's nothing there. The only reason I stopped before was because I was in second, and if I tried to move at that speed in second, I would have stalled. But because I went into first on the approach, it's a lot smoother and I'm not stopping unnecessarily at the junction. When you first start learning to drive, what I see a lot of people do is look at the steering wheel, especially when they've made a turn and they're trying to straighten up. They stare at the steering wheel thinking that's gonna help them somehow. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say we're gonna keep going and then make our turn. So if they'll turn into this road, and then they'll be looking at the steering wheel thinking, oh, which way is it supposed to be going? And not looking where the road is or not looking where the car is going. That's a big mistake, and I'll show you why. So right now, if you look at the steering wheel, the wheels are straight. Well, we think they're straight. I know they're straight because we've just stopped and the wheels are straight. But if you look at the steering wheel now, so you've just seen me turn the steering wheel one big turn to the left. It looks the same as before. And if you're turning and you're looking at it, you might think, oh, my wheels are straight now. And then if I turn it this way, back to straight, if I turn it one more turn to the right, you've just seen that the wheels are facing this way now, but it still looks straight. This is why you don't want to be looking at the steering wheel. So when you first start your lessons, don't look at the steering wheel when you're trying to straighten up. What you need to be doing instead, once you've turned, is look where the car's going. So like now I'm gonna turn. I'm not even looking at the steering wheel, but the car's going too much this way, so then I can start turning it towards the right. If it's going too much towards the right, then I can start turning it towards the left. I know it sounds really basic and simple, but a lot of learners make that mistake of staring at the steering wheel thinking it's gonna help them when it's not. I see a lot of learners do turns like this. If that's how you steer and you can manage it like that and you prefer it doing it that way, then do it that way. But a much quicker way, if you want to get your license quicker and if you don't want to spend too much time learning how to steer, is do it a bit more naturally, a bit more freely, and I'll show you what I mean. Now I'm just going to turn, I might even cross my arms a bit, let the steering wheel come back by itself. Yeah, back to the middle. You notice I didn't let go of the steering wheel. I still have my hands on the steering wheel the whole time. You never see me do like this. My arms are still moving around. You can even do it one-handed if that's easier for you. Let me show you on the next turn. I'm gonna go into first because this turn is kind of tight. And then a bit of one-handed, bringing it back towards the left with my other hand, while my other hand was still kind of holding on to it so it doesn't just lose control. So I know some people have been taught or been told, oh, you shouldn't cross your hands because you're gonna fail the test. That's not true. You won't fail the test for crossing your hands or crossing your arms. What you will fail the test for is losing control of the steering. So when it comes to parallel parking, too many people complicate it. If you understand this concept early on in your driving journey, you're gonna save loads of time and you're gonna get your license quicker, because it's such a simple concept to understand, but sometimes it might take a couple of tries to get it right. So some people that I teach, they understand it before I even teach them. So then when it comes to parking, I don't even have to show them how to do it, because they just understand how to reverse the car. And that is, turn the steering wheel where you want the car to go. If you understand that concept, parking is going to be super simple. Let me show you quickly what I mean. So I'm going to look around, and let's say we're parking next to this car here. I'm just going to show you a quick version. If you want to see the longer version of this, check the video that I made coming up right now. So right now I want to go towards the left, so I'm going to start steering towards the left, just gradually, not a big turn, because we've got lots of space on the parallel parking, your driving test. And then I can start gradually turning a bit towards the right, because I don't want it to get too close towards the curb. If I'm too far away from the curb, I'm just going to turn towards the curb. If I'm too close, I'm just going to turn away from the curb. And I can keep doing that until I'm in the spot. I'll stop for these people that are going past. There's a pedestrian on the side there, let them go past. Yeah, I can keep doing these turns, left, right, keep making adjustments like this, left, and then right. So most people that are parking, that are experienced, this is how they park. They don't use reference points. They will steer towards the left a bit, towards the right a little bit, towards the left a bit, until they get it in the spot. If you learn that from early on, your parking is going to be so much easier, and you're going to learn quicker, and you get your license quicker as well. So another common thing that I see with learners is they try to do things that are way too advanced for them, or they try to drive like their dad or their mum. Don't forget, those people have been driving for years. So don't rush at junctions like this. I can't see properly, so I'm going to take my time. But a lot of people won't do this. They'll come out of it really quickly because they're really experienced, and sometimes they might even take a bit of a risk. But you don't want to do that as a learner. Take your time and drive at your own capability. So I'm going to turn left here. I'm going to approach it slowly. I'm not rushing to do this because it's quite a busy junction as well. I'm checking that right properly, checking the left properly. A lot of learners fail on these kind of junctions here because they're trying to come out too quickly, trying to show the examiner that, oh look, I'm a really good driver, so I can do this quickly. That's not the way you do it. Take your time at junctions, take your time when approaching things, and do things in your own time. The type of trainers or the type of shoes you're gonna wear on your lessons makes a huge difference. So if you're wearing these kind of trainers like this, see these kind of ones with a thick sole, they're going to be very tricky to drive in because you can't feel the pedals, you can't feel the biting point, and it's going to be harder for you to learn how to manage the pedals. What you need really is something like this or like this with a soft sole and not such a thick sole as well. Something really flexible so that when you're driving, you have a better feel of the pedals. Some people even learn to drive barefooted at first because it allows you to feel the pedals more, but I'm not recommending that you drive barefoot. I'm just showing you that the thinner the sole, the more you can feel the pedals, the better it's going to be. Once you really understand how the clutch works, and maybe even after you pass your test, then you can wear whatever shoes you want really. I'll still recommend that you don't wear ones that are too thick or too heavy so that you can drive smoothly. So this one some of you might not like, but this tip is going to save you a lot of time and possibly a lot of money as well. And that is, once you pass your theory test, don't forget about what you've done. I know a lot of people, once they've done it, they just want to forget about it because there was a lot of stress for some people. But the whole point of the theory test is to prepare you for driving. If you're driving around and you're not sure what's going on with the signs or what's going on with the road markings, it's going to make your life harder. So what I recommend you do is keep on top of your theory test stuff. So even after you passed, keep going back to the revision and understanding what the signs mean, understand what the road markings mean, so that when you're actually driving now, you understand what you have to do. So if you'd like help with your theory test, join our club where you can get one-to-one coaching from me for your theory test. We have weekly Zoom sessions where we practice, ongoing support. So if you have any questions or anything that you're not understanding, you can ask on there and I'll give you support. I always forget to mention this, but it's the most important part. We have got the whole theory course in there and the driving course as well, all available for you once you become a member. So make sure if you want to join that, click on the link in the description and I'll see you in there. Another thing I see a lot of learners do or think they have to do is go into neutral at traffic lights. Especially if you're the first person, don't go into neutral. Stay in gear 1 and be ready to go. You're just making your life more difficult that way. So like here, for instance, and so look, you can go into neutral if you really want to and if you find it easier. Stay in gear 1. That way it's like one less step to do, so that when the lights change now, all you have to do is get the biting point and move on. Be in gear. That way when it changes to red, all I have to do is get my biting point, handbrake down. I'm already in gear, and then I can move off smoothly. Once you get more experienced and you already got your license, then you can do those kind of things. But don't put pressure on yourself when you don't need to. On your driving test, there's a lot that can go wrong anyway. You're not going to get extra points from the examiner for going into neutral and putting your handbrake on, by the way. So why make your life more difficult?